Welcome to Wealthion. I'm Wealthion founder Adam Taggart here with another short but very time-sensitive video on I-bonds. Right now, I-bonds are offering an extremely attractive risk-free return. It's possible we may never see one this generous again. How generous? If you buy an I-bond today, you'll lock in a guaranteed annualized rate of return of 9.62% on your money for the next 6 months. That's more than 2 times the return that standard T-bills are currently paying, and it comes with the same security guarantee that you'll get 100% of your principal back along with the interest you earned. But time is running out to lock in this 9.62% rate. To do so, you need to buy your I-bonds before this coming Friday, October 28th. If you don't, the interest rates I-bonds offer resets on November 1st, and you'll only be able to get the new rate after that, which we know now is highly likely to be lower, currently estimated to be 6.48%. Now, that's still not too bad, but it's 1/3 less than 9.62%. So if you've watched my earlier videos on I-bonds, like this one explaining how they work and how to buy them using the U.S. Treasury's treasurydirect.gov website, or this one explaining how to use the Treasury's little-known gift box to multiply the amount of money you can put into I-bonds at today's 9.62% rate, if you've watched those but still haven't yet bought any for the 2022 calendar year, consider dropping everything and go buy them right now. And if you haven't watched those videos, you should do so right after this one ends. As for the rest of this video, I'm going to provide a few quick clarifications to questions that have come in over the past few weeks about I-bonds. First, a lot of people living outside the US have asked if they can buy I-bonds. The answer is usually no. To be able to buy them, you have to be either an individual with a US Social Security number or be a US entity like an LLC that has a US tax identification number, also referred to as a TIN. Second, we've received a number of questions about how to use the treasurydirect.gov website to buy I-bonds. Despite indeed looking like a website designed by the government, the process is actually pretty simple and should only take a few minutes. Here's a replay from one of my earlier videos showing you exactly how to do it. First, go to the treasurydirect.gov website. If you haven't done so before, open an account by clicking this link over here and then clicking on the Treasury Direct link here. Then simply follow all the account opening instructions as prompted. And one pro tip here, the Treasury Direct website's a little clunky as A, it's designed by the government, and B, it has a ton of security precautions in place. One thing that takes a little practice to get used to is that you can't use your browser's back button. Can't do that. If you do, it logs you out of the website and you have to start over. Yeah, it's a bit of a hassle, but I guess it's worth putting up with if it keeps your money more secure. Okay. Once you have an active account at Treasury Direct, then you want to go back to the homepage and click the Treasury Direct link under Account Login. Once you've successfully logged in, you'll arrive at your Treasury Direct My Account homepage. Click on the tab titled Buy Direct. Click on the Series I radio button and then click Submit. Enter the amount of I-bonds you want to buy in the purchase amount field. Make sure the bank account you want to use for funding the purchase is the correct one selected. Also, make sure you've got sufficient funds within your bank account before attempting to make your purchase. Also, make sure the single purchase radio button is selected unless you want to set up a recurring purchase program. But for now, let's just go with a one-time purchase. If you don't want the purchase made today, enter the date you want it made on, and then click Submit. Review the information here. If everything looks good, then hit the Submit button again, and you're done. It's that easy. Next, folks aren't clear on how much money they can put into I-bonds at today's 9.62% rate. Now, let me spend a little bit of time here clarifying, as it's more money than most think. Now, per person, the U.S. Treasury will only let you buy $10,000 worth of I-bonds in a calendar year. But, and this is important to understand, There are several strategies you can use to buy a lot more right now for your household. First off, yes, you can buy $10,000 worth of I-bonds for 2022, but so can your spouse and your children and anyone else in your family. Also, if you have businesses or trust, those can also buy $10,000 worth each. So, assuming a family of 4 with a business or trust, that's $50,000 socked away in I-bonds for 2022. And if bought before this Friday, October 28th, all will lock in the 9.62% rate for the next 6 months. But there's more. You can also gift each other additional I-bonds, which will also lock in today's 9.62% rate. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated, so let me explain visually. I'll do this on a per person basis, and I'll show you how everyone in your household can put up to $30,000 into I-bonds over the coming year and enjoy a return that's approximately 2 times what a 1-year T-bill will offer with all of the same principal protections. Now, let's assume you buy your full allotment of $10,000 worth of I-bonds today for the 2022 calendar year. Now, you have to hold those I-bonds for at least a year. The Treasury won't let you sell them sooner, so you can't sell them until November of 2023. Now, we know these bonds are going to earn an annualized 9.62% interest rate for the next 6 months. That's from now through late March. In late March, they're going to re-rate to whatever is the current I-bond interest rate at that time, which we now happen to know, or at least have a pretty good approximation of. It's looking like the new rate is going to be 6.48%. So that's what your I-bonds will earn from late March through late October of 2023. Blended together, that's an 8.05% annual interest rate. Now, that's pretty darn good for today's environment, where we've seen both stocks and bonds down double digits this year. Now, you could choose to sell your I-bonds in November of 2023 when they hit their 1-year anniversary. But if you choose to sell them before owning them for 5 years, the Treasury charges you a penalty. It makes you forfeit the previous 3 months' worth of interest payments. So in order to lock in your full 8.05% annualized interest, you'll want to hold the bonds for 3 more months until February 2024 and then decide whether or not to sell them at that point. Yes, you're holding for 3 extra months that you're not getting paid for, but if you're looking to lock in that tasty full 8.05% on the first year and keeping your money safe in the meanwhile, that's a pretty good trade-off in my book. So, okay, I've just showed you what happens with the $10,000 worth of I-bonds you buy today, but what about the full $30,000 I promised you? This is where the U.S. Treasury's gift box comes in. In addition to you buying your $10,000 allotment for 2022 today, now let's have your spouse also gift you, again today, an additional $20,000 worth of I-bonds. Now, since you've already used up your maximum allotment for I-bonds for 2022, you can't accept those gifted bonds yet. So they go into the Treasury's gift box and are held there in your name. And this is really important, they start earning interest from the day they were gifted. So if they're gifted to you this week, before the October 28th deadline, yep, they lock in that sweet 9.62% annual interest rate for the next 6 months. And then the 6.48% rate after that. And it all accrues until the time you're able to receive these gifted I-bonds yourself, which you can start doing in January of 2023, which is just a couple of months from now. In January, as long as you're not purchasing any I-bonds on your own, you can take receipt of $10,000 worth of these gifted I-bonds from your gift box, and that will use up your I-bond allotment for the 2023 calendar year. So now you have $20,000 worth of I-bonds that you hold directly and $10,000 worth remaining left over in the gift box. Now, once November arrives, the I-bonds you hold directly are now 1 year old and you can sell them if you wish. But as I mentioned earlier, I'd recommend holding onto them for at least 3 more months to make up for the penalty the Treasury will impose. In January 2024, you can now take receipt of the remaining $10,000 worth of I-bonds from your gift box. And since it was purchased for you over a year ago, it too can now be sold. Again, I'd suggest waiting at least until February, at which point all $30,000 worth of I bonds have locked in that full 8.05% worth of interest paid. That's even taking into account the Treasury's penalty of the last 3 months of interest payments. So, compared to buying a 1-year U.S. Treasury bill today, you've roughly doubled your return over a period that's only a few months longer, again, with full guarantee of return of your principal. And the math I've just showed you here can work for every person in your household, so you can see how the amount of money you can put into I bonds can really multiply here. Though it's important to note that this math only applies to people. While any businesses or trusts you own can also buy I bonds, they can't gift them or receive them as gifts. So, no gift box options for them. All right, well, that's pretty much the latest on I bonds. If you've been thinking about buying some this year, if you want to lock in that 9.62% rate for the next 6 months, you need to do so before October 28th. Though, should you choose to take advantage of the strategy, I highly recommend talking first to your accountant to make sure they understand what you're doing and are comfortable with it. Most CPAs are unaware of the gift box option, and I'm a bit shocked how challenging it's been for me to verify with the CPAs I've talked to about everything I've laid out for you here. I've explained it all according to my best understanding based upon researching the Treasury's own guidance on the Treasury Direct website and reading numerous related articles. But if you're going to commit your own money to this, you should do so under the guidance of your CPA and/or your financial advisor. Also, speaking of financial advisors, if you don't have a good one to consult about whether this I bond strategy makes sense for your personal situation, then consider talking with one of the advisors that Wealthion endorses and get their opinion. It's completely free and there's no obligation to work with them. These are the same experts you see on this program with me every week. To schedule one of these free discussions, just fill out the short form at wealthion.com. Anyways, I hope all this was helpful for you. If you'd like us to continue to flag similar good opportunities like this when we see them arise, let us know in the comments section and we'll be sure to do so. And to make sure you get alerted when that happens, please subscribe to this channel by clicking on the red subscribe button below, as well as that little bell icon right next to it. And be sure to hit the like button too while you're down there. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for watching.